Hello and welcome to the video on Introduction to Python Data Types. In this video, we will be learning about what are data types, the different type of data types that are available in Python, and how to use them. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So, what are data types? Data types are the representation of different types of data that a variable can be used to store. First, let's learn about int. Int is the representation of integers. Integers are whole numbers without any decimal values. They can be either positive, negative, or just 0. Let us take a variable a and equate it with 5. As 5 is an integer and it gets stored in the variable a, the data type of the variable a becomes int. We can use a type function to display the data type of the variable. As we print the type of the variable a, it outputs it as int, denoting it is a integer. Unlike programming languages like C++ and Java, here we need not explicitly define the data type of the variable in beforehand. Python automatically understands it by the type of the data the variable is getting used to store. Next, let's learn about float. Float is the representation of numbers with decimal values. Numbers like 4.8, 5.6, 7.0 are numbers with decimal values. Thus, they are float. Let's take a variable b and equate it with 8.2. 8.2 has a decimal value. Thus, the data type of the variable b will be float. Let's check it out. Yes, it is. Next, let's learn about the complex data type. Complex is used to represent the complex numbers that you would have studied in mathematics. A complex number usually looks like this, but in Python, I is replaced with j. There are two ways to create a complex number. One way is the way I mentioned here in code. The other way is to use a complex function. Let's take a variable b and use the complex function. These are the ways to create a complex number. This part is called the real part and the number which is near j is called the imaginary part. You might wonder, what is the need to learn these different data types if Python can automatically recognize on its own? Well, there are two reasons. One reason is each data type has its own use case and one data type can solve a problem much better than another data type. The next one is functions work differently according to the data type that they are handling. Let me show you an example. Now let's add two integers. Here you can see that it just output the answer adding 5 plus 4. Now the same plus operator works differently when we add two complex numbers. We are adding the complex number a and d. In this case, it outputs 7 plus 8j. Here, the plus operator adds the real part together, the complex part together, and merges it. The same operator is working differently. So, this is the need to learn the different data types that are available in Python so that we can make use of functions properly. Do you think is there any possibility to convert a variable from one data type to another? Yes, there is a possibility and it is called as typecasting. Let's take a variable, a float variable. Suppose if we want only the integer part of it, we should use the int function. So we use the int function and pass the variable into it. Let's print a new variable and print the type of it. Here we can see that from the float variable we take only the integer out of it and we create a integer. The vice versa can also be done, that is converting an integer to a float by using the float function. The next data type that we will be learning about is bool. Bool is used to represent two logical values. They are true and false. In programming language, it is often necessary to evaluate an expression and find if the expression is true or false. Let's take an example by comparing two numbers and check if which one if A is greater than B. Previously, we have said that A's value is 7.8 and B's value is 8.2. The output is false. The next data type that we will be learning about is string. Strings are a sequence of characters. This is an example of a string where the characters are enclosed within a inverted commas. These strings are also indexed, which means we can access a particular character by their position in it. Suppose we want to print the first element in it. So we use square bracket and the position. Here we can see that it's printed H. The indexing as stated starts from 0 and these strings are immutable, which means it cannot be changed. Let's try changing something in it. Suppose we want to change the first element to S, and while we run it, it says that the string object does not support item assignment. There are some particular functions which are associated with the string, which like converting all the characters into uppercase or lowercase or removing white spaces from it. Strings doesn't only contain alphabets, they can also contain numbers, special characters, white spaces in it. Let's take an example. Well, this is also a string. Let's use one particular function to check it out. Here we converted all the characters into uppercase and we printed it out. Strings are represented by the data type str. The next data type that we will be learning about is list. List is one of the most used data type in Python. It is a set of collection of elements separated by comma. Let's take an example. Here we can see that the elements are separated by comma and they are enclosed within a square bracket. List is also mutable, which means we can add an element or remove an element even after their creation. And list is indexed, which means we can access an element in it by their position. Let's try it out. First, let's access an element and the indexing here starts from 0. So the first element here is indexed as 0. Here we can see that hello is getting printed as it is at the first place. Now let's try adding an element at the end of the list. And let's print it out. Here we can see that element is getting added at the end of the list. List also supports addition of element of different data types. Now let's try to insert an integer into the list. Here we can see that an integer has been added into the list. There are also functions like pop, which removes the element at the end of the list, remove, which removes an element at a specified position. List also supports having elements of duplicate in nature. That means it can have multiple duplicate values in it. The next data type that we will be learning about is tuples. Tuples are an ordered collection of elements much like the list. The elements in it can be of different data types and these are indexed. They can also have duplicate values. Then you might wonder, what is the difference between a tuple and a list? Well, tuples are immutable, which means these cannot be changed after their creation. Elements cannot be added or deleted. And this plays an important factor in using it because as they cannot be modified, they require much less space than the list and they are faster. Let's print the type of the element here. Here it outputs us it's a tuple. The elements in the tuple are separated by comma and enclosed in circular parentheses. Now let's learn about set. Set is an unordered collection of elements where no duplicate elements can be present. Let's create a set. The elements in the set are enclosed in curly braces. These elements in it are unordered, thus we cannot use indexes to access elements in it. The one thing that makes set unique is that they have a highly optimized technique to check if a particular element is present in a set or not. This makes it highly efficient to use than list because it makes that process much faster. Let's check if high is present in H set. It says true. Let's also print the type of the element. It shows it is a set. Now let's try to access an element with indexes. As we try to access by index, it gives an error saying set object is not subscriptable. It shows that it is unordered. The last data type that we will be learning in this video are dictionaries. Dictionaries are mutable data type where elements are present in key value pairs. Let's create a dictionary now. Here we can see that the key value pairs are separated by comma and the key and the value is separated by colon. These are enclosed in curly parentheses. The keys in the dictionary are unique and no duplicate keys can be there, and this makes it faster for the retrieval purpose. But in case of values, duplicate values can be present, different data types can also be present. We can access each value by their unique key. Let's try to access the name John with the key name. We can see here the name is getting printed. We can also add new values into the dictionary by creating new keys. Let's create a key. There is also a possibility to modify values by using the key again and initiating with it with a different value. Let's change the age here to 24. Now let's print all the keys in the dictionary, and it can be done using the dot keys function. Here we can see that the new key has been added to the dictionary. The dot values function prints all the values in the dictionary, and there is also a method called dot items which creates a list with each key value pairs. Let's do it now. Here we can see that the dictionary is getting printed in a list with each key value pair present in the list. This marks the end of the video. and I believe you would have learnt about all the data types in the Python in a brief manner. In the upcoming videos, you will be learning about each data type in depth, and you will be learning how to use them and where to use them. Thank you.